Take this from me because I've had to deal with this. As an influencer, when you grow a following, you will either say or do something that people might not like and might not agree with, and eventually, you might have to apologize. So for today's compact challenge, you guys will be filming your very own apology videos.
Oh my God.
On each of your workstations, you will open up a compact, and I have randomly assigned each one of you a minor scandal. You guys are going to have 15 minutes to run anywhere you want on set and to film a 1-minute, no editing apology video. All right, artists, your time starts.
Oh my God.
Now!
James Charles is uncancelable. He is literally immune to cancel culture. Let me say this upfront. I disagree with basically everything James Charles has done and said. I am not here to defend him or excuse his behavior, but what I am here to say is that he is not going anywhere, and that is the bitter truth. Because I have been on this internet long enough to watch him get cancelled and come back so many times that I am genuinely numb to it at this point. It doesn't even shock me anymore. Something happens, people are furious, the unfollow button gets a workout, and then a few months later, someone is reposting a funny clip of him singing with 1 million likes, and the comments are full of people going, okay, but James Charles is actually kind of hilarious. Every single time, like a clockwork. The cycle is so consistent at this point, and I want to talk about why that is. Because I think it says something about him specifically, but also something bigger about where we are right now with cancel culture and what it actually does and does not do. Let's start with what just happened. Spirit Airlines had shut down completely. Thousands of workers lost their jobs overnight.
It's not just that Spirit Airlines shut down and left people stranded. It's that 17,000 people are now out of a job. And currently, the United States has virtually zero job growth. Since Trump has taken office, we haven't been making jobs. In fact, we've been firing people from government jobs through like Doge and like the green energy and infrastructure projects that they've been cutting. People have been losing those jobs. Electricians have been losing their jobs. Even my cat is outraged at this prospect. So it's the idea that now that 17,000 people are out of work, where are they supposed to go?
One of the workers was a 30-year-old woman named Amber who had been working at Boston Logan Airport. She did what a lot of people in crisis do when they are desperate and running out of options. She sent a DM to someone asking for help. The person in question being James Charles, politely asking if he could help with sharing her GoFundMe link. She even prefaced it with, I know you probably never see this. She was not demanding anything, she was just asking. James Charles had several perfectly normal options in front of him at this point. He could have ignored the message, which is what most sane people with 40 million followers do with their DMs. Like, I had no idea that famous people even read their DMs due to the amount of messages they probably received daily. I thought they had people manage that for them. Anyways, he could have quietly donated and said nothing, or he could have just kept scrolling. Instead, what he chose to do was to make a 2.5-minute video where he read her message out loud in a mocking tone and called her a lazy piece of shit, called her entitled, and told her that in the time it took her to send him that message, she could have been applying for another job. He also felt the need to point out that she was not a fan of his and had never followed him, as if compassion is something you have to earn by watching someone's content first.
I just got a DM on here from a girl that said, good morning, James. I know you'll probably never see this, but if you could just take 1 minute to read it, would really mean a lot to me. I'm really struggling right now because Spirit Airlines just filed for bankruptcy and I have lost my job. Here's a GoFundMe link. Any donations help. I'm sure they do, sweetheart. I'm sure they do. You know what else would help you? Getting another job. Yeah, try that. Because in the time that it took you to copy and paste the same fuck-ass message to myself, who you don't follow, by the way, and probably 100 other influencers and celebrities, you could have applied for 100 other jobs, but you didn't because you're a lazy piece of shit and you're entitled. And you think that influencers and celebrities should fund your life for you. Why would I ever help you? You're not a fan. You don't even follow me. You've never supported me. This is your first time DMing. And you think that I'm gonna send you money because you lost your job? Oh my God, welcome to the real world, sweetheart. People lose their jobs every fucking day, and you're white, pretty, and able-bodied. You're in a much better position than a lot of other people out here who are trying clearly much harder to make a better life for themselves. Why would I fucking help you? Aside from that, 17,000 people lost their jobs at Spirit Airlines. Why do you think you need the GoFundMe? I can at least 1% respect the mentality of closed mouths don't get fed, doesn't hurt to try. But honestly, it does hurt to try because now you pissed me off, okay? I'm not the one. Go find fucking Mr. Reese. This is literally his entire shtick. I'm sure the next YouTube video is literally gonna be like, I rehired all 17,000 of the Spirit Airlines employees, and it's gonna be the real life Hunger Games. The last one of them to leave the Spirit Airlines plane gets to be the CEO of the new company and gets a house and a car and $10 million that everybody else dies. Go find that video to compete in, baby. I'm not helping you. I'm not fucking helping you. All you did was lost your job, okay? Welcome to the real world. I can at least understand if you were like, James, I'm a longtime fan. Here's a trillion years of DMs and my support for you. I love you. I'm suffering with a really rare genetic disease that there is no cure for, and I'm trying to raise money for myself and other people that have this. Maybe I would help. Maybe I would help because I love you and I appreciate you. This bitch, you lost your fucking job? What are we gonna do? Nothing! I'm gonna do nothing. You know what you need to do? Go find a fucking new one, girl. Put some effort into the workplace.
She was not asking for a Chanel bag. She was asking for help after losing her job, and he turned that into content. This is the part that really got people. Not just that he said no, but that he decided to film himself being cruel about it and post it online to his millions of followers. The video got deleted, which doesn't really matter anyways. The internet is forever, especially if you're a public figure. Deleting a video that thousands of people have already saved and re-uploaded won't erase it from the internet. Jackie Aina, who is one of the biggest influencers back in the day, in case you don't know who she is, posted a response that got over 12 million views and said she did not think James Charles had ever had a real job in his life, and that the way he spoke to Amber showed exactly that.
I just got a DM on here from a girl that said, good morning, James. I know you'll probably never see this, but if you could just take 1 minute to read it would really mean a lot to me. I'm really struggling right now because Spirit Airlines just filed for bankruptcy and I have lost my job. Here's the GoFundMe link. Any donations help. I'm sure they do, sweetheart. I'm sure they do. You know what else would help you? Getting another job.
Jobless behavior, by the way, on his part. Very jobless behavior on James Charles' part. James and I are considered peers. I'm a content creator. He's a content creator. I'm a founder. He is a founder. We are technically considered peers. I normally like to mind my business. I don't like to come after other creators. This is probably one of the, I thought this was fake. Is this fake? I don't think James has ever had a real job. I don't think he's ever had a job that isn't social media, that isn't an independent contractor. I don't think he's ever clocked in. I don't think he's ever had a W-2. I don't think he's ever done any of that. The way you're talking to this person shows, and it's very disgusting and it's very inappropriate.
You could have applied for 100 other jobs, but you didn't because you're a lazy piece of shit and you're entitled. And you think that influencers and celebrities should fund your life for you. Why would I ever help?
James Charles, in 2026, the job market right now is the worst that it's ever been. And as bad as I envisioned this video being, as I kept watching it, it just got worse because what do you mean you're lazy?
And you think that I'm gonna send you money because you lost your job? Oh my God, welcome to the real world, sweetheart. People lose their jobs every fucking day.
I understand not wanting to be a bank. I understand not wanting to be treated like a disposable source of income all the time. I understand that. I get it. But not responding was also an option. A very respectable and easy option. You simply could have just not responded. It's the fact that you turn on your camera, you recorded this seemingly sober, ? And you posted it. For what? You thought we was gonna be on your side? Absolutely not. What's particularly annoying about this is that I know ain't nothing gonna happen. I'm not saying that I want something to happen to you, but all I'm saying is as a white man, you can turn on your camera, talk absolutely crazy out the side of your neck, and it's going to warrant zero consequences for you, much like many other things. I don't know what the hell inspired this post, but that was absolutely a terrible take.
Piss me off, okay? I'm not the one. Go find fucking Mr. Reese. This is literally his entire shtick. Go find that video to compete in, baby. I'm not helping you. I'm not fucking helping you. All you did was lost your job, okay? Welcome to the real world. What are we gonna do? Nothing!
I just feel like to never have to have entered the workplace yourself and to say something like this takes an insane amount of privilege. It's just literally oozing from this video, from his damn flat top. I'm confused. I'm confused what you thought we was gonna get from that. That was absolutely terrible and you really should have kept it. It's honestly very rare that I respond to other influencer scandals or when they get dragged. Like, it has to be something that directly affects me. I feel like I caught a stray because what in the world was that? And I think I also just have a problem. Like, right now we have a gender pay gap. We have a race pay gap. I've literally been dragged for much less. It begs the question, like, how comfortable do you have to be to get to that point to where you just are saying it with your chest? I think this was disgusting. You may need to clear that GoFundMe just for what you did. I'm sorry. I've lived through every era of the beauty industry. Literally every era, the worst of the worst. That's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen an influencer say willingly on camera. Also, I have to say this, we've been down this road before. When other influencers mess up in the public eye, do not tag me in these scandals and expect me to respond to everybody. I'm absolutely not. I am not the beauty community school principal. This one really pissed me off. This will definitely not become a pattern. I'm sorry, I just had to say something.
I ended up deleting the video that I posted yesterday talking about people who send me GoFundMe links that have never followed, supported, DM me before, just begging for money. And most people were like enjoying the video, saying it was a valid point, but it definitely started causing some discourse in the comments. And a lot of people were just saying it was out of touch and insensitive. And they're right. It was definitely a harsh choice of words, maybe not my best video, and I deleted it. But of course the internet is forever, and now a lot of content creators are using like the 5-second clip in the very beginning where I'm like, you're a lazy piece of shit, get a new job, to upload their cute little think pieces being like, influencers are all so out of touch, this is so disgusting, you don't know how hard it is in the job market these days. Oh my god, give me a fucking break. I am out of touch, first and foremost, okay? I am never going to be one of those influencers that gets online and pretends to be poor so I can come across as relatable to my audience. I think it's tacky, I think it's annoying, and I also think it's quite insulting to the audience watching, as if you guys are going to be fooled into thinking that. You've been watching me for 10 years now. It's no secret that I have been able to find success doing what I've done. It didn't start that way, though. I started from literally nothing and had a dream for myself and was determined to literally do anything to make it happen, and luckily, I've been blessed to be able to do that and now call this my full-time job. The reason I made that video yesterday, though, was a lot of people these days do not have the make it work mentality. They have no desire to actually put in the effort to try to fix a problem and get themselves out of a situation. They immediately result in asking for help. And don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for help. In my personal opinion, though, it should be a last resort. If you disagree, that's totally fine. That's your personal opinion. I'm not going to apologize for having mine. There's a lot of people responding back to the video being like, oh my gosh, he has no idea how hard the job market is. I've been applying for new jobs for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years now, and I've literally heard back nothing from any of the jobs. I'm sorry that that is happening to people. I know that the job market fucking sucks. I've heard so many horror stories. I can't even imagine what that's like. Those are the people, in my opinion, that are totally valid and asking for help. The person that I made the video about yesterday lost their job last week at Spirit Airlines, along with 17,000 other people. And granted, I don't know this person. Maybe making a GoFundMe link was really their last resort. I just personally do not believe that to be the case, because I know for a fact that they sent this same exact DM to hundreds of different influencers and celebrities. This person did not follow me. They have never DM'd me previously. They have never supported me on any social platforms. They have never purchased from Painted. This person was literally just spam copying and pasting this DM to every person that they assumed had money to offer them. And I'm sorry, just because somebody has money does not mean that you're entitled. I'm sorry if that comes across as insensitive or privileged or mean, but welcome to the real world. It's fucking hard out there. Nobody owes anybody anything. The universe will constantly remind you of that, and a little bit of effort goes a really, really long way sometimes. I stand behind what I said, 10 toes down. Instead of spending an hour copying and pasting the same DM to 100 different celebrities or influencers, you could have spent the same amount of time copying and pasting a job application to hundreds of different companies. Or, hear me out, put in a little bit of effort. If you want to send the DMs, at least spend 20 seconds before you hit send, customizing it to the person that you're asking for money from, right? Hi, sister. James, I've been watching your YouTube videos since I was a teenager. You really taught me how to do makeup and have positively impacted my life every single Friday. Hey, I'm in this shitty situation. Do you think that you could help? Probably would have gone a lot further than a generic message. Or instead of copy and pasting the same job application to hundreds of different companies, send in 10 job applications to companies that you really care about and you think you could fit in with, and then customize your application and your cover letter, letting these recruiters or hiring people know that you're the best candidate for this job and why they should want you on their team. I know putting in the extra work and effort probably feels useless when you know that you're in a sea of DMs or job applicants, but trust and believe, as somebody who's now on the other side of things, the little bit of extra effort does go a very long way, and unfortunately, taking the easy route is usually never going to work. That's just my 2 cents. Just a word of advice. You can take it, you can leave it, it's all good. I just wanted to provide some more context on my video yesterday because I do not like how it's being twisted and taken out of context. It was definitely never my intention to undermine anybody who's trying to work and provide a better future for themselves, their family, and their loved ones. I just don't exactly think that that is what this person was trying to do, or at least the right way to go about doing it.
James Charles was also getting dragged because he was being a hypocrite, saying all what he was saying. But remember when America had an issue with TikTok and they almost shut down the app? And James did a video crying about being scared of losing his source of income.
I don't know how many hours we have left together or whether or not this app is even going to go dark tonight at midnight, but in case it does, I don't want the last video that I post to be screaming and yelling at the camera during some rant or following some audio trend, so I just wanted to set my phone down and talk to you guys for a couple of minutes if this is the last video that I post. Sorry, I know it's embarrassing to set my phone down and fucking cry about an app getting banned, but I know everyone's kind of coping with this in different ways. A lot of people are making jokes, which I've done as well. Some people are really angry. I've felt all those emotions, but honestly today, I'm just feeling really sad. I really love this app. I really love this fucking platform that I've been able to build in this community that we have together here, and it feels really just dystopian and like unreal that it could be going away in a couple of hours. I don't understand how we've gotten to a point where 9 people that we didn't even elect into office are making a decision for more than half the American population. I've been making content for a really long time online, way before TikTok was ever even a thing, but truly nothing has ever compared to this app. I think it's really hitting me as well because this is really the first platform that I feel like I've been able to be myself on. Throughout the years of making content, I'm so proud of what I've created, but some of my really close friends behind the scenes have always said to me, like, James, I wish you were able to be more yourself in your videos. And I never really understood what they meant. I've always thought I was being myself. Of course, like, the Hi Sisters personality was me, but it was just more amped up on camera. And they'd always be like, no, you just don't get it. Like, you just need to figure out how to be yourself, because when you do, like, that's when you'll be unstoppable. And it didn't really click until this year. And I feel really embarrassed that it took me this long to get to that place. It was really like this year when I started my spam account and just stopped caring about likes and views and engagement and analytics and just started talking and ranting and sharing my thoughts and little jokes and humor, and was able to really showcase my brain and my creativity with Painted and the marketing and the brand. And I feel like it was too late. You know, and of course, like, everyone's commenting, just saying, like, we're gonna miss you so much. I'm not going anywhere, like, I'm not fucking dying. None of us are. But this app really has been such a beautiful community. There really is no platform like this, and I'm just really scared that I'm not gonna be able to find you guys wherever we do end up going. This sucks. This fucking sucks. And I really hope that something turns around and this video is going to be so embarrassing in 24 hours if this app is still here. But I really do mean it when I say I love you all, and I'm really, really fucking grateful for all the moments, all the memories, all the people. I just wanted to say, I hope this isn't a goodbye, but I'll see you later.
But he goes on to belittle someone to just apply for a new job like it's that easy. Like, bro, you were crying in front of the camera when you were scared of losing your source of livelihood. He apologized a few days later, called the video stupid, and said it was rude, obnoxious, privileged, and completely unnecessary.
Yesterday morning, I posted a video on this account talking about how a woman had lost her job at Spirit Airlines, and she sent me a message with a GoFundMe link asking me to donate. And the video is basically me yelling at the camera, being super upset and frustrated because this person had never followed me, never supported me before, and it was clear that she had basically copied and pasted this DM to every influencer and celebrity she possibly could, asking for a handout. And I called her lazy. I said she was stupid. And I said she should have spent the time that she spent copying and pasting the message, applying for jobs instead. This video was fucking stupid. It was rude, it was obnoxious, it was privileged, and most importantly, it was completely fucking unnecessary. When I saw that DM, I absolutely had the choice to ignore it and say absolutely nothing at all and move on with my day. But instead, I couldn't even tell you why. Her message just triggered me, and I decided instead to make a video about it. And I bashed her, and it was obnoxious, and I shamed her for asking for help in a situation where she was clearly really struggling, and this could have been her absolute last resort. I have no idea what was going on in her life, and I should have never assumed that she was just copying and pasting this DM as an easy way out. I don't know. I just don't know. My intention behind making this video in the first place was, I get a lot of messages like this every single day, and for me personally, it definitely sucks to receive messages from people that don't follow you and don't support you, treating you like our personal ATM or bank account. But what I'm sure sucks even fucking more is not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from and not being sure whether or not you're going to be able to put food on the table for yourself and your family. So it really doesn't matter what my intentions were behind making the video, because it came across as super fucking privileged and like I was basically shaming anybody that's unemployed for not trying hard enough to get a job. And I feel awful because that wasn't my intention, and it really hurt a lot of people. And I know that it's not that easy. I know that the job market fucking sucks right now. I have friends that are looking for jobs. I have my own employees that I try my best to take care of. And I've heard so many fucking horror stories online of companies ghosting people, recruiters wasting everybody's time, people applying for job after job and not hearing back for 6 months, a year, 2 years. I know that it's really fucking hard out there, and that most people are just doing their best and trying their best to figure it out and to make it by. And if this person happened to choose sending out GoFundMe links as their method of trying to make it by, who am I to judge? Especially when you consider the fact that my method of figuring it out and getting by was making makeup videos online. I just happened to get really lucky, and now, years later, I'm in a blessed and privileged position. But as somebody with a platform, it's my responsibility to humble myself and to never take what I have for granted. And when I made that video today, that is exactly what I did. I was speaking from a very privileged, obnoxious, ignorant standpoint. And for anybody that saw that video and was disappointed or upset with what I said, I am super sorry, especially to the woman from Spirit Airlines. I did try to look for her message earlier before making this video, and I couldn't find it. If you see this video and you want to get in touch, I would love to apologize to you directly and to help you out a little bit. But if you are not comfortable with that, I totally understand too. I really appreciate anybody that sent me a message or left a comment about this video today, letting me know how insensitive it was. I really needed to hear that, and I really need to think twice before I hit record and just start yapping on this account. I genuinely treat this spam page like I'm on FaceTime with you guys. I love to laugh and tell you stories and rant and scream at the camera and joke around with y'all, but sometimes I genuinely forget how many people are watching, and it was completely inappropriate to make a joke out of somebody just trying to provide for themselves and their family. That's definitely my bad.
He donated $5,000 to Amber's GoFundMe. The internet rallied around Amber. She raised well over her GoFundMe goal, and James Charles became the villain of the week. What he did was wrong. He had a moment of choice and chose cruelty. He chose to make entertainment out of someone's financial desperation. The apology was fine for what it was, but an apology does not erase what the original instinct was. Here is the but that I already know is coming, because I have seen this happen before. I have seen this film multiple times. This will not cancel him. I have been online long enough to know exactly how this ends. Look, I have watched James Charles get cancelled and come back multiple times at this point, and I want to be very clear that when I say he's been cancelled for worse, I mean considerably worse. Bro has had literal predator allegations, multiple times at that. In 2021, multiple underage boys came forward accusing him of sending them explicit content and pressuring them into sexting. He admitted in his own words that he had sent sexual messages to 2 people who were both under 18. That came out publicly. Major brand deals were cut. It was about as serious as it gets for an influencer. And he came back for it. How, I genuinely do not fully understand, but he did. I'm not going to go deep into every single one of James's controversies because this video will probably be over an hour long, but the point is the pattern. He has been through things that by any reasonable measure should have ended his career permanently. Things that have ended other people's careers permanently. And he is still here, still posting, still with tens of millions of followers. So when I say the Spirit Airlines situation will not cancel him, I'm not saying that as someone who thinks what he did was okay. I'm saying it as someone who has watched this exact cycle play out enough times that I recognize it immediately. The Predator allegations did not do it. The Tati drama, which at the time felt like the most catastrophic influencer fallout in YouTube history, did not do it. A mocking video aimed at a laid-off airline worker is not gonna do that either. Since we're on the topic, I want to take a moment to just catalog the greatest hits, because James Charles has apologized so many times that at this point the apology video is basically its own content genre for him. If you compiled every apology that he has ever posted, you would have enough footage for a film. A very uncomfortable film, but a film. What is interesting is how the apologies have evolved. The early ones were much longer, emotional, and messy. The later ones have become more clinical, more precise, like someone who has gotten good at a very specific skill, which, now that I think about it, is exactly what has happened. He has apologized enough times that he has genuinely gotten better at apologizing. I'm not sure that is the character arc anyone was hoping for, but it's the one we got.
The video that I posted 2 weeks ago now about the Spirit Airlines situation was awful. That video was terrible, it was nasty, it was disrespectful, it was completely unnecessary. And seeing clips of it all over my For You page is embarrassing to say the least. There is no excuse for making that video, so I'm not going to sit down today and try to give you one. I fucked up, point blank period. When I initially posted that video, it was on my spam account, which for anybody that might not be familiar is basically my second page where every piece of content is me crashing out and yelling at the camera over any random topic. The videos are supposed to be relatable and funny, and I talk about things like the hantavirus cruise or parking tickets or the cost of guacamole, but nothing about that Spirit Airlines video was in line with that content at all. To be completely honest with you, don't know what I was going through that day that led to me or allowed me to be so triggered by an individual one-off message like that, and I really don't know what the hell went through my head to think it was appropriate in any way, shape, or form to make a piece of content about somebody reaching out asking for a helping hand at a vulnerable time. The intention behind that video was not to accuse anybody unemployed of being lazy, and it was also not to accuse any hardworking people of not working hard enough, but that is how the video came across, and I feel fucking terrible for contributing to those narratives. I know that when I post this video today, there will probably be comments of people saying, you know, James, you're only making this response because of the backlash. And I want you to know that is true. When I first posted this video, clearly I didn't see a problem with it. It embarrassingly did take people making videos and me getting hate comments and backlash to actually take a step back, put myself in check, and realize what I said here is not okay, and now I need to educate myself as to why. And that's what I've been working on doing over the last 2 weeks. I uploaded a video on the same spam account apologizing, and since then a lot of people have reached back out. The original Spirit Airlines employee did end up coming forward, so I was able to send her a private apology and donate to her GoFundMe, as well as several other Spirit Airlines employees that were also affected by the bankruptcy. However, I'm well aware that an apology video and a couple of donations from my couch in LA are not enough. In the initial video, I made a comment of like, welcome to the real world, why don't you just go get another job? And I now realize that that is literally just not possible. I knew that the economy and the job market weren't great, but I'm ashamed to admit my level of ignorance when it came to how bad it actually was. But now I'm definitely more in the loop because the last 2 weeks have been spent having a lot of conversations and listening to people. Whether it was a supporter, a non-supporter, a mean message, a nice message, I have just been reading and taking in as many stories as I possibly can to better understand what it is actually like living in the real world, because clearly I now understand and realize I have been far departed from that for a very fucking long time because of the privileged, secluded little influencer bubble that I have been in. People have shared stories with me about getting laid off, companies filing for bankruptcy. People have told me about wanting to work but not being able to because of disability or medical, or even people applying for hundreds of jobs and never hearing back from recruiters. I've heard people tell me that they have 2, 3, 4 jobs and still can't put food on the table because the cost of living is just that high. And I now realize that most people want to work but quite literally cannot because of circumstances completely out of their control and a system that is working against them every single step of the way. And I feel awful for contributing to the idea that if you're not working overtime, you're not working hard enough, because that should not be the reality that we're all okay with. I know that my job as an influencer is easy as hell, right? I have such a blessed job to be able to make videos online and teach people how to do makeup. Clearly, I have lost touch with the amount of privilege that it is to be able to do this for a living, and I'm really embarrassed by that, and obviously need to come back down to earth and do my best to use my platform for the right reasons. Clearly, I have done not the best job of that in the past, but I can always do a better job in the future, and I want to showcase to you guys that I've heard the backlash, I'm learning, and I want to put my money where my mouth is and hopefully be able to make a long-lasting impact. Today, I'm going to be launching the Painted Project. This is a brand new organization that I'm working on building with my team with an initial personal contribution of $250,000. Every single cent of that is going to go directly towards helping people in need that have been affected by a crisis. Now, I will be transparent and say that launching something like this is not fast and it's not easy. It's fine. It's going to be a multi-year thing that I'm really looking forward to putting my all into, but we're starting off with 3 initial launch phases. The first phase that is going to be starting next week on paintedproject.org is going to be initial emergency relief funding. This means direct cash, support, and resources towards people that have been fucked over by circumstances completely out of their control, and hopefully being able to help out those individuals to get back up on their feet, working again so they can put food on the table for themselves and their families. The second phase of this is going to be working with local organizations that are actually on the ground to make sure that once those people are back up working again in the workforce, they're able to stay in those career paths to continue being successful and growing. The third step, which is going to be a little bit further down the line, but I'm very excited about, is going to be providing scholarships and tuitions towards creative education programs. This platform and job has changed my life and my family's life forever, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that would love to be able to work in creative industries, but can't because of roadblocks that are out of their control. I would love to be able to fully fund and sponsor tuitions and scholarships to hopefully make the jump into these creative fields a little bit easier. Now, I definitely have more ideas of future phases that I would love to be able to bring to life for the Painted Project, but for right now, these are just the first 3 that we are working on, and you can currently log on to paintedproject.org to learn more about our game plan and our timeline of how we're going to bring these to life, and I look forward to keeping you guys posted with more updates and information as soon as I have them. Now, I do want to make it really clear that I know launching this right now is probably going to look just as performative as making an apology video or sending out donations, and I have to be okay with that. I know that I can't undo my video or erase the impact of the words that I chose to say. That's my own fault, but I hope that by launching this, I can at least show you guys I'm listening, I'm learning, and I really want to use my platform in the best way that I possibly can, and I think the Painted Project is a really great first step way of doing so, and hopefully an opportunity to turn something really shitty into something a little bit more positive. I want to say a massive thank you to anybody that's reached out over the course of the last 2 weeks to be vulnerable and share their story with me. I clearly needed a massive reality check, and speaking to you guys has really helped with that, and I also want to say thank you to anybody that's taken the time to watch this video all the way through. I'll be in touch soon.
We are in an era where cancellation flat out does not work. And this is the bigger conversation I actually want to have because James Charles is just the loudest example of a much wider truth. Cancel culture was supposed to be a mechanism for accountability. The theory was that if enough people withdrew their support from someone who had done something genuinely harmful, that person would face real lasting consequences. Revenue would drop, brands would act and pull out. Their career basically ends. And for certain people at certain levels, that has happened. There are people who have been effectively removed from public eyes through sustained pressure, like Colin Ballinger, for example. But for someone like James Charles with tens of millions of followers spread across multiple platforms, it does not work that way.
One way to permanently cancel a celebrity by blocking them. So without further ado, today's block of the day is James Charles. Say it with me, block.
What actually happened is a dip. A noisy, very public dip. Lost followers, lost brand deals, trending for all the wrong reasons. Real damage in the moment. And then the news cycle moves. It always moves, and the people who stayed through the worst of it are still there. The floor never fully drops out because cancellation requires the audience to be united, and the audience is never united. People have extremely short attention spans. That is just the reality of how social media is right now. Today, you are furious about something. Next week, something else happens. The week after that, something else happens again. The James Charles discourse gets replaced by the next discourse, which gets replaced by the next one after that. By the time things settle, the people who are the most loudly outraged have moved on to the next thing to be outraged about. And honestly, I am being generous calling it months. I give it 2, maybe 3 weeks before you start seeing his videos being shared again. The Spirit Airlines situation becoming one of those things people reference in passing, like, oh yeah, that happened, and then moving on. That is how this works now. That is where we are. He is cemented into the internet whether we like it or not. Part of the reason James Charles is impossible to fully cancel is not just about loyalty or attention spans. It is about how deeply he has embedded himself into internet culture at this point. He has been online consistently for nearly a decade. He has collaborated with almost everyone worth collaborating with, including A-list celebrities despite him being an influencer. He has been referenced in memes, tweets, in comment sections that have nothing to do with him. He exists in the background of the internet. He has become part of the vocabulary of internet culture in a way that most influencers never achieve and that you cannot simply unsubscribe from. That kind of cultural saturation is a form of protection that goes beyond follower counts and algorithm boosts. You can unfollow someone, you cannot unknow who they are. As long as you know who they are, the likelihood that some piece of their content will eventually reach you, whether you sort it out or not, remains high. That is what happens when you have been a consistent high output presence on the internet for long enough. The internet absorbs you. So when people talk about canceling James Charles as if it is a simple matter of enough people deciding not to support him, they are underestimating how baked in he already is. His fans has actually baked forgiveness into their deal. James Charles has a specific kind of fan base that has been with him long enough to have developed what I can only describe as a forgiveness protocol. They have been through enough controversies with him that they have essentially learned through repetition that this is part of what being a James Charles fan involves. He will do something controversial. There will be outrage. He will apologize. They will eventually come back. That is the relationship. And at this point, for a significant chunk of his audience, that pattern is just terms of the deal. There are people watching him right now who were there for the Tati drama and the Predator allegations, who were there for every single controversy in between, and they are still there. That is not naivety at this point. It is a deliberate, if not maybe fully conscious choice to engage with someone they know is going to let them down on a regular basis and then apologize for it. They have accepted that this is who he is. And once you accept that, once that becomes the baseline expectation, the cancellations stop hitting the same. The outrage that someone new to his content might feel when they see a controversy is not the same outrage a longtime fan feels. The longtime fan already has context. They have already made peace with the fact that James Charles is a controversial person who will periodically do something indefensible. What they are weighing now is not, is this bad, but is this worse than the other things I forgave? And most of the time, for most of them, the answer is no. That is a strange kind of loyalty, and I am not saying it's healthy or admirable, but I am saying it is real and it is load-bearing for his career in a way that makes cancellation incredibly difficult to achieve. You cannot cancel someone whose core audience has already priced in the cancellation. There is also the fact that James Charles, for all the legitimate criticism of him, has never fully disappeared between controversies. He keeps showing up. He keeps posting. He keeps being present online in a way that means there is always fresh content sitting alongside the old scandals. When the newest controversy fades, even slightly, there is new material available to drift towards. I was surprised when I went to his channel and saw that he still pulls great views, considering most influencers from his era has already faded into irrelevance or obscurity. So why does he keep surviving? Part of it is audience loyalty that is older and deeper than any individual controversy. There are people who have watched James Charles since they were 13 or 14, who are now in their mid-20s. That kind of parasocial relationship does not dissolve easily. Part of it is also how these platforms already function. YouTube and TikTok are not going to quietly suppress someone with 40 million followers because public sentiment has turned. The algorithm rewards engagement, and controversy is one of the most reliable forms of engagement on the internet. Even the outrage is content. And part of it is that his apologies tend to land at just above the minimum threshold. Not great, not reputation restoring, but just enough to give people looking for a reason to stay, a reason to stay. He names what he did wrong. He does not immediately play victim. It's the smallest viable version of accountability, but on a large-scale audience, it is enough to work on enough people enough of the time. There's also something to be said about the fact that part of his fame now is actually built on the controversies themselves. Some of the people who would tell you they cannot stand James Charles are also the people most likely to click on a video about his latest drama. The controversy keeps him in the conversation, keeps him searchable. He gets attention from his fans and critics, and both of those things feed the same machine. A person who is genuinely cancelled stops generating any kind of engagement. James Charles generates engagement constantly, including from the people who are angriest at him. I hadn't heard of James Charles for years until this controversy. I thought he had stopped being an influencer. I had moved on from that area of YouTube that I was in when I was a teenager. Like, I forgot he even existed. I was so shocked that people still gave a damn about him in 2026. His controversy literally feeds his relevance. That is what happens when someone has been controversial consistently enough and long enough that the controversy itself becomes part of their brand. The James Charles situation across its many chapters is a long-running demonstration that internet cancellation at this level of fame is mostly just noise, very loud noise, with real short-term consequences, and then it fades every single time. The fact that it keeps fading even after things as serious as predator allegations says something pretty stark about the limits of what public outrage can actually accomplish on its own. Now, I'm not saying that people should not be angry. The anger is completely reasonable. What he did was genuinely awful, and what has come up in his past is actually very serious. Anger is a legitimate response, but all the anger, all the unfollow sprees are not gonna turn into lasting consequences. It's just noise that someone with enough followers waits out. And James Charles has proven repeatedly that he knows how to wait controversies out. He will be fine. I genuinely hate saying that, but he will be fine. James Charles surviving all of this is not really about James Charles anymore. It's really about us and what the internet rewards, about how short our collective memory actually is, about how we build platforms that are structurally incapable of sustaining accountability for long enough to make it stick. As long as the internet operates the way it currently does, people like James Charles will absorb cancellations, and somewhere James Charles probably already knows that.